Sup, bitch. So, I made another Celestials villain, and this time his name is Count Lacelor. So first of all, before I forget, in my previous videos I forgot to mention the elements of the villains. So Fagners would be toxic element, and Purifier would be tech element. And by the way, this video is pre-recorded, and the next one will probably be pre-recorded as well because I'm probably gonna take a bit of a break for Christmas. But but I really enjoyed making these drawings anyway, so I just pre-did them. So, Count Lacelor over here is, wait, what? He's kind of like an elementalist villain, so there would also be characters that would fall out of the element categories, and you would also have elementalist characters. And this is one of them. So he is the villain that comes after Purifier, so probably like season 4 or something, I don't know. Wait, you actually can't see the staff very well because of the sun. That's what it looks like. Now it looks like a lot worse. That's what it looks like. And so Count Lacelor over here is obviously a vampire character. That's pretty obvious. And basically, he is like a character that uses his magic staff to like create mass that can come out of the ground and walls and like basically push you down onto the ground or like against a wall. So he basically like just make a bunch of these like mass like slimy-esque, kind of like the same thing as a suit. He would kind of like make that appear out of nowhere, out of the ground, like multiple really fast from like different sides, and then he would like make it pin you down on the ground or something, or like against a wall. And then he would go in for the kill with his hands, because you can tell he has like these big vampire like sharp nails and his teeth obviously. So he would just kind of use his hands as a weapon. He would just start scratching your face and your like your stomach out until you're like bleeding and your intestines are hanging out. So it doesn't seem all that threatening using his hands, but it would be. And then if he wants to turn you into a vampire, he can also like bite you or something, but he doesn't necessarily have to like... I saw this in like a vampire thingy or something, in the sense that a vampire can kind of choose when he wants to turn you into a vampire or when he would just wants to bite you and suck your blood. So he would be able to just bite you as well without necessarily turning you into a vampire. And so his whole thing is he basically powers up from blood, if that wasn't obvious yet. So I'm thinking right now what I should explain first. Oh yeah, also, real quick, go to the link in the description to support me on Patreon. Oh yeah, maybe I should explain the suit first of all. So we can tell he's covered in like this sort of like, well, the sun is covering the screen, but if I go a bit closer, now you can see it. So you can see he's kind of wrapped himself up in like this armor, this like suit that's made of like this hardened resin, basically, and this is something he acquires with a special recipe that also involves a bit of black magic. And so the way this would work is this kind of like a special resin that, let's say, it can like soften up with heat, or he can make it soften up. So it's kind of like a substance that can change a lot. So let's say, for example, he needs to bring his vampire wings out, because yes, he would have vampire wings and would be able to fly. He would, for example, be able to let the back piece, like the armor on his back, he would be able to soften the parts up where his wings have to come out of on command. And then it would be soft enough so his wings would be able to come through. And then he would have wings, so pretty cool. And so, for example, let's say you put a lot of heat onto the armor, it like starts to like boil up and like soften up. You can also do this on command. It also like hardens hardens even more when you like hit it with force. So it's kind of like hardens with kinetic energy. So you can tell it's like this sort of like special suit. And then in here he has like all these like bloody little tendrils, and then here he has some really long ones. And that sounded wrong. And so basically the way the suit works is he powers every time he like kills someone, he collects the blood, and like his power armor basically absorbs it. And you can see it gets filled up with these bloody like tendrils. And then he also has this staff with like a magic blood amber. So it's kind of like made of the same material. And then, how do you say this? When he wants to use his power, like I said, this guy feeds on blood, so he can use do a lot of things with with blood magic. So let's say, for example, he would be able to do other things as well, except rather than just creating those mass pillars. For example, he would be able to use blood magic to like turn it into like a liquid that he can control around in the air or something. He could maybe make blood harden up and like turn into sharp knives that he would throw at you or something. But like I said, his main thing would be like the tendrils. So by the way, his suit, the tendrils in his suit would also start like moving around when he would use his powers. So pretty cool. And I'm not sure how he would do this. Maybe I think a cool idea as well would be that he would be able to make the tendrils also like extend from his suit as well, or maybe from his staff. So maybe he would put his staff in the ground and the tendrils would come out from there, or just all of that. Maybe there would be a lot of variations. He would be able to make a tendril maybe come out of the end of a staff and pull you with it. Maybe he would be able to make the tendrils like transfer to his arm, and then he would be able to use the tentacles to like grab you inwards or something, and then go in for the kill. But I think you get the point. So like I said, to really re-emphasize, like I said, he can make pillars like grow out of the ground or out of the walls to like put you down on the ground, and then he would go in the kill go in for the kill with his hands. So yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool to have like this cool like bloody aesthetic with like this special armor. And then for his backstory, wait, let's actually maybe go over his design first. So like I said, he has a blood amber staff with like a tendril that goes all the way down, kind of like a vein. He has some scars on his hands, a burn mark actually. Chainmail on his legs because I just thought that looked cool with some brown leather underneath. And then he has like scars as well on the armor, like here and there. And then he has like protection everywhere. Here he has like longer tendrils in the chest. And then he has just his bare hands, a necklace with maybe like some blood in it or something. He has his cool like bloody eyes, a scar in like a V shape across his face. You can see his fangs are out. And then he has like this cool like devil looking crown on his head. And then near the neck he has like the part where like I forgot the English word, where basically the part of the neck is. Then he has like these cool like crystallized accents on there, so you can see this. It's kind of like crystallized everything. On his shoulder he has this as well, and then here he has that as well. Pretty cool. And so for his backstory, basically he's a vampire that actually comes from Belgium as well, and he was around the same time kind of when Inferno was human. So this was to create a pretty interesting parallel, because like I said, this is a villain. And so the way this thing would work out is vampires would basically stay hidden around the world for a while, and this guy would move somewhere else. Because Belgium in this like storyline is actually like a pretty mainstream country, and he would have to move somewhere else to keep more hidden. And he's a vampire, so he doesn't die of old age, and he's also a pretty strong one. And the armor would help him get out in the daylight. So he would maybe be able to go out in the day every now and then. And so the way this would work is he would basically live in the shadows for like a lot of time, and he would eventually become as old as Inferno. So you have to remember they're from the same timeline, kind of the same like timestamp in the timeline, kind of. And this guy would basically still stay hidden, but he would secretly conquer like more unknown areas on Earth that are like less populated and less like famous or something in the background. And he would basically get more vampires on his team until he has like a whole group and stuff, like a whole tribe of vampires basically. And eventually he gets the plan. He wants to take more power. So eventually he's gonna want to take over Britain, so like the UK. It would be a location he would be interested in, and he would basically try to get onto the fronts with his whole army of vampires. But then, what was it? Somehow, some way, Inferno and his squad would find out about this, and how do you say it? This villain isn't really your typical villain in the sense that he would be a bit more of a well-mannered person. He would be a bit more respectful as well, and a bit more of a respectable character. So it would create this really interesting parallel where Inferno would be fighting against him and like talking against him and stuff. And they would definitely be rivals to each other, and they would want to kill each other. But it would be kind of interesting to see that they still have this slight sense of mutual respect, because even though this guy's like a villain, it's still kind of respectable how he's been around for like thousands of like 2,000 years, still hasn't died yet, and has like brought up a whole army and like stayed hidden, stuff like that. It would create this interesting dynamic, basically, where they would. This would basically be a more respectable villain, which I thought was a pretty cool idea. And you can kind of tell as well, like he's pretty prestigious. He's not like some like 100% psychopath that would just like murder an innocent child, so to speak. And I think out of all the villains, he would be the most likely out of the main villains to spare someone, because like I said, the villains in Celestials are like really like bottom of the barrel, like vile people. And the main villain, which I'll actually probably make a video about soon, would do all of these things. Like, for example, if the main villain of Celestials, like the season 5 or 6 villain, saw like a child on the street, he would probably try to like murder it, because he's like I said, like bottom of the barrel psychopath, like absolutely deranged. And then this guy would be a lot more likely to have mercy on someone, which I think is interesting, because don't get me wrong, he would still be like a psychopath murdering people and stuff. But you could imagine if he like sees like a child crying on the street, instead of killing him, he would like comfort him, and then he would like fly away and spare him. Pretty interesting, if you ask me. So I'm thinking if I have anything else more to talk about. So he would have his big scary castle, obviously, and here you can see there's like a cool blood moon in the background. And you have to imagine in like the actual context, if like Celestials had episodes, this guy is a vampire after all, so he can do much more than just use his tendril attack. He would be able to turn into like in a bat, for example. All sorts of cool things, black magic, that kind of stuff. And like I said, it would just look really cool having all the like bloody tendrils wiggling around in a suit, and he like uses it to create tendrils to pin you down on the ground, and then he'd start aggressively like scratching your eyes out. So pretty cool character. You can tell he looks really fierce as well. I really enjoyed making this design, and the way he would die, actually. So like I said, this guy would basically kind of go to war on the UK, like in Great Britain, and then their Inferno and like a whole army of heroes would be there to stop all the vampires and stuff. And then the way he would die is in the end, after like most vampires have been defeated, he's already pretty beat up. The good guys would have like the heroes would have trouble actually like killing him, like finishing the job. And I actually said this in a previous video about Silly Mage. Silly Mage would actually be the one to kill him. And like I mentioned before, the way this would work is Silly Mage would speak out the forbidden spell, if you remember. Well, I actually can't say the word right here, right now. But you just have to go to my Silly Mage video if you don't remember. So he'd speak out the forbidden spell, if you catch my drift, and then basically he would get like chained up by these like red glowing magic chains that would come out of nowhere. He would get pinned down to the ground, and like this like red magic lightning would strike him so hard and so many times until eventually he would just turn into a bloody pile of bones and dust, and he would die. Pretty interesting, and I just think it would be really funny to just see Inferno looking up to a hill, and then he on the top of the hill he just sees Silly Mage like emerging. Everyone's like pretty beat up. They're like having trouble killing this guy, and then in the last moment, Silly Mage hits him with the clutch with like the forbidden spell, and this guy gets like fucking lightning striked into oblivion. You see like the clouds going dark in like this epic way, and then he he just gets lightning striked because of the forbidden spell. You just have to go back to my silly mage video because I can't say the forbidden spell here. So yeah, pretty cool character. Pretty funny ending to him. And I feel like his weakness would be fire a bit as well. Like he would be able to handle fire, but it would definitely hurt him. So it would be very useful that Inferno is there. Also, if like the other villains, like if say for example, if the Fagners, like the monster species, because fire would be very useful in this sense. And I actually don't think I have much else to say about this guy. Nah, I don't think I have much else to say about him. Yeah, he looks absolutely beautiful. Someone is probably gonna make Rule 34 out of him. No. I just made him look really handsome. Like you can see, he's like a pretty handsome vampire. He has like a nice little mustache. Yeah, I just really like the design. Okay, don't think I have much else to say. I hope you liked the video as much as I did, and see you in the next one. Bye, bitch.